He didn't carry a weapon. He never held political office. And yet, he shook the foundations of American power. Armed only with words, conviction, and courage, Martin Luther King Jr. is often remembered as a dreamer. But few realize just how dangerous that dream was, because behind the soft voice and Sunday sermons was a man who terrified the system. This is not the sanitized version. This is the real story of a man who forced America to look in the mirror and never blinked. Born in 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, Martin grew up in a deeply segregated South. By the age of 6, a white friend was no longer allowed to play with him. By 13, he was refusing to give up his seat on a segregated bus. And by 15, he was already in college. A prodigy with a pastor's soul and a fire in his bones. He wasn't just smart, he was deeply aware of injustice and obsessed with changing it. Inspired by Gandhi, Dr. King embraced nonviolence, not as weakness, but as a weapon. He believed that the only way to defeat hate was with militant love. He led boycotts, marches, and sit-ins. He trained people to take beatings without fighting back, to smile while being spat on, to kneel as police dogs lunged at them. This wasn't submission, it was strategy. Nonviolence exposed the cruelty of the system. Live on television, into the homes of every American. And it worked. In 1963, he stood before 250,000 people at the Lincoln Memorial. "I have a dream," he said. But most people forget what came next. He dreamed of a world where his children would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That day, he electrified a nation. But behind the scenes, he was under constant FBI surveillance. Labeled a threat, watched by J. Edgar Hoover himself. His phone was tapped, his hotel rooms were bugged. He was told to stop, or be destroyed. He kept going. What most don't realize is that by the late 1960s, Martin had evolved. He began speaking out against the Vietnam War, against poverty, against economic injustice, calling capitalism itself into question. He started the Poor People's Campaign, uniting Black, white, Native, and Latino workers in a national fight for dignity and fair wages. That's when many allies turned their backs. Even President Johnson distanced himself, because this king wasn't just a civil rights leader, he was a revolutionary. By 1968, King was exhausted, but he traveled to Memphis to support striking sanitation workers. His last speech, delivered the night before his assassination, sounded eerily like a farewell. "I've been to the mountaintop, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but we, as a people, will get to the promised land." The next day, he was shot on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel, 39 years old. Today, his name is on schools, streets, and a national holiday. But we can't let the monuments bury the man. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't a soft-spoken saint. He was a disciplined radical, a master strategist, a moral force wrapped in nonviolence. And though his life was short, his dream still echoes. In every peaceful protest, in every vote cast, in every act of courage against injustice, he showed us that you can change the world without ever raising your fist, just your voice.